Nearly 200 Apistogramma fry appeared in this 5-gallon aquarium and about 100 made it to juvenile size, but getting them to spawn was not the hardest part. The real challenge came later, when the parents stopped protecting the fry and became ready to breed again. That change happened quickly. The same pair that had guarded the babies could soon see them as competition, or even food. And because I had only one grow-out tank, the next generation created another problem I had not planned for. This is how I bred Apistogramma cacatuoides Orange Flash at home, from the breeding pair to free-swimming fry, and what I would prepare differently next time. Orange Flash is a selectively bred color form of Apistogramma cacatuoides, often called the cockatoo dwarf cichlid. The male's extended dorsal rays and orange fins make the strain easy to notice, but breeding them is really about behavior, cover, food, and stable water. The earlier pictures in my archive show Orange Flash adults as I developed the project and settled fish into planted aquariums. For the brood in this video, I used one confirmed pair. Apistogramma cacatuoides are cave spawners. In this tank, the pair chose a hole inside the driftwood. I did not need a decorative breeding cave because the wood already gave them a dark, protected cavity. The breeding aquarium was only 5 gallons. It had a rear chamber with 3-stage filtration, driftwood, and plenty of moss. For me, the moss was not optional. It created cover, broke up sightlines, and gave the fry a dense area to explore. The small volume also had one important advantage. Newly swimming fry did not have to travel far to find food. When live baby brine shrimp entered the tank, the food stayed concentrated close to them. But that advantage came with a serious cost. 5 gallons can change quickly. Waste builds up faster, and even a small maintenance mistake affects a larger percentage of the water. So this was not a low-maintenance breeding tank. It worked because I watched it closely. I used conditioned tap water and kept the temperature around 24 degrees Celsius. I did not record pH, hardness, or TDS, so I am not going to invent a perfect number now. What mattered in this project was keeping the water and temperature steady. Before breeding, I fed the adults a high-protein diet, brine shrimp, bloodworms, and high-protein pellets. The goal was not simply to feed more. It was to keep the pair in strong condition while giving them a secure territory. The pair eventually spawned inside the hole in the driftwood. The archive does not include a clear view of every egg or an exact hatch timeline, so I will not pretend that it does. What the footage does show is the result: a large group of free-swimming fry moving through the moss and staying close to the protected area of the tank. The most interesting behavior in this project was the parenting. In many basic descriptions of this species, the female is presented as the main egg and fry guardian. With this pair, I watched both parents guard the babies. That does not mean every pair will behave the same way. It means daily observation mattered more than a rule from a care sheet. I watched where the parents positioned themselves, how they responded to the fry, and whether their attention was still protective. For a while, the family worked together. The fry stayed grouped in the planted area, and the adults guarded the territory around them. I started the fry with live baby brine shrimp. The movement made the food easy for the fry to recognize and hunt, and the small tank helped keep that food within reach. As they grew, I slowly mixed frozen daphnia with the live food. I did not switch everything in one day. The transition was gradual, until the fry were taking frozen daphnia completely. With close to 200 fry, feeding and water quality became the same job. Every meal supported growth, but every meal also created waste. In a 5-gallon aquarium, ignoring that trade-off would erase the benefit of keeping food close to the fry. My routine was a 10% water change every day while carefully siphoning out waste. Small daily maintenance let me remove debris without making one large, sudden change. Replacement water had to be close to the tank's existing temperature and chemistry. Young fry are sensitive, and a clean tank is not useful if cleaning causes a rapid temperature or water chemistry swing. The siphon also needed attention. The fry were tiny and easy to mistake for debris, so maintenance had to be slow and deliberate. This is the less cinematic part of breeding fish, but it is probably the reason so many of them reached the juvenile stage. The most important decision came when the fry became independent and started hunting food away from the parents. That was the point when I saw the adults begin to lose interest in guarding them. The pair was becoming ready to breed again. In my tank, leaving them with the older fry after that behavioral shift risked losing the entire brood. Parents that were focused on the new spawn could eat the older babies. So I moved both parents into another breeding setup that was nearly identical to the first. They soon started a second batch. The lesson was simple. Do not decide when to separate fish by the calendar alone. Watch the behavior every day. When the fry are independent and the pair returns to breeding behavior, have the next tank ready. About 100 fry from the first group made it to juvenile size. That was a good result, but success filled the available space. I had only one grow-out tank. When the newer batch needed room, I noticed the older juveniles attacking the younger fish. Different-sized groups were now competing in the same space, and I did not have a second grow-out aquarium available. If I repeated this project, I would prepare the second grow-out tank before the pair spawned again. The breeding tank was ready. The second breeding setup was ready. The missing piece was enough separate grow-out space for overlapping generations. I would still use dense moss and a protected driftwood cavity. I would still start with live baby brine shrimp and transition gradually to frozen daphnia. I would still make small daily water changes and siphon waste instead of waiting for the tank to look dirty. And I would still watch the parents every day. Their behavior told me when the fry were safe, when the fry were becoming independent, and when the adults were ready to start over. The 5-gallon tank helped the fry find food, but it demanded steady temperature, steady water, and daily maintenance. The project succeeded because those trade-offs were taken seriously. Would you breed Orange Flash Apistogramma in a small dedicated tank, or use a larger setup with more room for the family? And have you ever seen both parents guard the fry? Tell me what happened in your tank.